Hello, everybody, and welcome to ED 512, Ethical Issues for Professional Educators. I am Dr. Sean Emslander, and I will be your professor for this course. A little bit about me. You can see all of this information that I will share, or at least some of it, in the welcome section. I am a teacher at a prison in Minnesota. I am currently in a work out of class position for the last 5 or so months, acting as the principal. I am also the union leader, our president for our teacher union, which includes all of the state prisons, the mental hospitals, sex offender programs, the academies of the deaf and blind, and Purpose Academy of the Arts. We are a very diverse group. And in that role, I deal with grievances and discipline, as well as contract negotiations, which we're actually in right now. So I have a very diverse background, mostly based around adult basic education in a prison setting. A little bit of a syllabus review here. So the syllabus can be found right here under welcome. The important thing to note about this class is that it is a bit heavier on writing than most of the other courses that I have taught. You are going to have weekly learning activities, WLAs, that are worth 80 points that are due weeks 2, 3, 4, and 6. So the first one, due week 2, is a philosophy of education. These are actually posted in the discussion boards. So if we go into a discussion board for week 2, you will see that number 2 is the weekly learning activity philosophy of education statement. So you're going to post these and then respond to 2 of your peers. That will be the same for all the weekly learning activities that aren't weekly, but you get the idea. There are 4 of them throughout the course. They're posted in the discussion board in the place of one of the discussion boards, and you will respond to your peers. So they list all 4 of them here. And then there is, I should say, an ethical communication assignment due week 3, normative leadership theories impact paper due week 5, and a code of ethics implementation paper and presentation, which is due week 7/8. It's a bit of both. The paper is due earlier than the presentation. So if we actually look at our assignments, I think we eliminated the presentation. Yes, so you will no longer need to present on it. You just need to do the paper. That was updated for this semester. The syllabus does not have it correct yet. I will have to let her know. The big thing to note here is the normative leadership theory impact paper. You are going to need to do outside research about normative leadership theories. There are quite a few in weekly reading choices, but you probably will need to do outside research. So I would start looking at that one earlier than week 5. The grading scale is the same as always. One thing specifically for how I like to give feedback is that you will get a rubric like this through Google Drive every week to your Concordia email. At the slowest, you will have week 1 by the end of week 2. Usually I am done grading around Wednesday and have these all sent out. And I generally send them out as I finish them rather than waiting until everybody's done. And with that, I just switch who I start with every week, so the same person isn't first or last for feedback. The weekly readings. The vast majority of the weeks are student choice for readings. There is not a single textbook that we're going to use the entire time. So if you go into reading resource or the reading list, and of course, apparently mine didn't want to load right now. see that they're topics rather than listed by weeks. So if there are specific articles for the week, those will be listed either in my presentation or in the discussion boards. Otherwise, it is mostly choice based around what are we looking at this week. I think these are organized to closely match up with the week schedules. The discussion board for this week. First, I'm just going to ask that you introduce yourselves to me. I know that most of you know each other already. I will try to have my opening remarks videos up by Sunday evening of every week. I like to have a chance to look at everybody's discussion boards before I post for the next week. There are a couple weeks here coming up where I'm going to have to pre-record, so I won't be able to do that. Specifically here, actually the week 2 video will probably need to be recorded early, as my family participates in deer hunting as kind of our one time of the year where we get to see everybody. And that is opening this weekend, first weekend in November. So I will be very busy with my family. The second discussion board will be challenging ethical issues in education. And what I want you to do here is to, from your point of view, share 2 challenging ethical issues facing educators or your organization today. Be specific, state why it's an issue, why it is a challenge, and why it persists. Why hasn't it been solved? For each challenge, please have a suggested proactive action to aid in resolving the challenge. Most ethical issues don't have one solution or any solutions that solves all part of it. If you have sources for this, that would be great, but they will not be required for this discussion board. However, responding and dialoguing to at least 2 colleagues is required. And for the second one, ethical dilemmas and ethical decisions. What do ethics mean to you? Why do we need them? Describe a life event where you witnessed someone who used ethical reasoning and decision-making. And how are ethics related to trauma and resilience? Again, no sources are required for this discussion board. They are encouraged, but you do need a dialogue with at least 2 cohort peers. Your first paper, your weekly learning activity, is going to be to write your own philosophy of education statement. This is due week 2. It is due the Thursday of week 2, so that you can post it and others can respond to it. And you will create, in your own words, a personal belief statement about your teaching and learning. This is not what others believe, it's what you think. And you can use I believe statements. Please see the syllabus. Everything lives in the syllabus. If you have questions, the best way to reach me is via email. I almost always try to respond within 24 hours. It is very rare that I don't. One time that I may not is actually this first week. Because as I noted, from November 2nd through the 8th, roughly, I am going to be with my family. So I will try to respond as promptly as I can, but I can't promise that it will be as prompt as it will be the rest of the semester. I do work in a prison, so I don't have access to my cell phone or my Concordia email during my work hours, which are generally 7 to 3:30, 4 o'clock. But I do try to respond as soon as I get the emails in the evening when I get home. Information on ethics in general. The way I like to run this course is that I am a facilitator and not the source of all knowledge. The very, I want to say, fun and interesting thing about ethics and ethical dilemmas is that there isn't a correct answer. There is often wrong answers and several possible right answers. Because of that, I do not participate in the discussion boards as a general rule. Every great once in a while I may. Rather, you will probably find that in your rubrics, I may pose challenging questions back to you. Know that when I pose those challenges to you, it's not that I disagree with your solution. It's that I am playing devil's advocate. I want to deepen your thinking and help you to further your thinking on whatever the issue is at hand by offering you some challenges or contrary ideas. In your response to the video, I want to know who you are, where you work, what level you teach if you're a teacher, and then which one of these 6 things resonates with you the most and why. I would say for me in prison, it's number 4, because there are things that are normal in prison that are not normal anywhere else, but when you spend as much time as I have with them, you stop noticing them until somebody points them out. So this week, our plan is to grow as a community of learners while implementing CASEL's 3 signature practices, which are a warm welcome. I always try to have the opening remarks response be something that's more fun or engaging and less serious than the other discussion boards. We'll try to do some engaging activities and we'll do an optimistic close. You've already gotten to know me a little bit. If you have more questions for me about me, my teaching, or my professional life or personal life, up to you. Go ahead, you can add those to your responses and I'll try to answer them for next week. And then I want you to begin thinking about ethical issues in your context and practice. I've already talked about all of this. I was previously a reintegration coordinator for incarcerated juveniles. That was during my teaching career. I took another work out of class and did that for a little bit. At home, I'm a dad of 2 young children. They are 4 and 2. I am a husband to my absolutely amazing wife. I am a gamer, and by that I mean both video games and board games. And when I have the time, I also very much enjoy reading science fiction and fantasy books with my wife. A couple more points on your first paper that's due week 2. Do your ethics inform your professional practice, or has your professional practice informed your ethical beliefs? So what came first, the ethics or your practices? Where do you see your personal ethics getting challenged or reinforced by those of your institution of education, kind of as a whole? If that's a bit too vague, you could say, how do your personal ethics get challenged or reinforced? I am having trouble talking right now, and I'm sorry. Challenged or reinforced by your workplace? Are there things that your workplace chooses to do that go against your personal ethics or reinforce them? All right. According to the NEA RJE Resource Guide, racial justice is the systematic, fair treatment of people of all races that results in equitable opportunities and outcomes for everyone. As you review the readings, think about the following. What is the relationship between the concept of ethics and that of justice? What does it mean to be fair? How is that similar to or different from the concept of equality? And how do ethics become systemized? Next, let's look at trauma-informed ethics. The trauma-informed lens often provides us with a more complete understanding of the people who surround us, and that deeper understanding expands our perspective, and a change in perspective can impact our worldview. And everything about ethics is about how you see the world and what your perspective is. The smallest change in perspective or your worldview can completely change your response to an ethical dilemma. Throughout this course, think about how the presence of trauma or the application of a trauma-informed lens intersects with ethical beliefs and expectations. On another note, I will note I'm usually not this verbose. It's just because it's the first week. I always try to keep these closer to 12 to 15 minutes, and I apologize if I seem to be droning on. We have already discussed both of these. So just a quick look at the calendar. The big assignments, this is not even correct. The big assignments, I'm going to go to the course, are going to be due. I apologize for the errors in the PowerPoint. The course has been updated several times over the last month. The big 3 assignments are going to be due week 3, week 5, and week 8. Note the dates there are November 18th, December 2nd, and December 20th. The 20th should be a Monday because it is that last week. It is a Wednesday. So the Wednesday of the 8th week. Another note, when we do get to Thanksgiving, I have built in some extra time. So you will notice that the discussion boards are due later than the normal Saturday dates. So I am aware of that. If we run into anything else where you personally need extra time, please just reach out to me via email. I try to be as generous as possible. I went to a lot of school to get a doctorate, and I can tell you that having those extensions and knowing that your professor will make them if you need them is very important. So please reach out to me before things happen, before the papers are late, to let me know what's going on. I don't need the exact information, but just let me know something's going on, you need an extension. And then I don't think I've ever denied one. So please reach out to me when things happen and don't just not turn in assignments without saying anything. Optimistic close. As I noted in this week's instructor remarks, please introduce yourself to me. Please include where you work and what your role is. If you are a classroom teacher, I would love to know what level or classes you teach. If you have any questions for me, that's a great place to do it. Otherwise, if you want a more personal response, please email me. You can reach out as needed. I'm here to support you. Like I already said, if you need additional time, reach out to me. And lastly, thank you for being educators. You make a difference every day with what you do. Here is my email address. And you can arrange a phone or Zoom call if you absolutely need to. If something just isn't making sense to you and email isn't working, just ask me for a Zoom meeting and we'll try to set something up. Have a great first week. I look forward to meeting all of you. Otherwise, happy Halloween, I guess, would be roughly when you're going to see this.